Hey, welcome back everybody to Game 3 of Sparkyz versus MBCGame Hero in Week 10 of the 9-10 Pro League season. And this is going to be Leta versus C, but before this match starts up, I want to give an announcement and talk a little bit about the last matchup, because I didn't quite get enough of it. What can I say? Anyways, my announcement, of course, is going to be about MagFest, which is coming up very soon, and I mean, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be able to upload these videos, but within a week, I'd say, yeah. It's almost Christmas now. That means MagFest is just a week away. So that's going to be great. I don't know, pre-registration might have stopped, but even if it has, you can still show up at the door and still get your ticket. It's going to be great. They've also made a special announcement about their New Year's Eve bash that they're having. They apparently have control of the entire hotel, so they're going to be throwing an epic New Year's Eve party. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to that, but I will still be there for the next 4 days of video game concerts and video games and concerts and video games and panels and events and videos and video games and concerts and drinking and video games and concerts. And it's going to be great. So I highly suggest that everybody comes. And also, if you do come, I know at least one of you has said that you're gonna do your best to make it. So if you are gonna be able to make it to MagFest, please send me an email at sparkyzcast@gmail.com, all one word, and we'll try to set up some sort of meetup, because I'd love to meet more of the StarCraft community. Excuse me, so while this match is getting starting, I am going to tell you that is Leta up there in the northeast as the purple Terran versus Light as the, let me see, brown Terran in the southwest position, and they are playing on Fighting Spirit, so I imagine on this map there is going to be a lot of tanks, and it's probably going to be a pretty long matchup, because once there's a couple of siege tanks out, it is very easy to defend those wide bridges that I like talking about that give Terran a little bit of an advantage on this map. But anyways, like I was saying, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that last match. Oh, geez, sorry, excuse me for all the coughing, I know. I really hope that one day I will be healthy again, but I'll just do the best I can for now. Anyways, somebody was asking me the other day about why I like Sparkyz so much, you know, especially because they're struggling, I guess is how they're doing this season. And while there is a big story that goes along with that, I suppose, but one of the reasons that I like them so much is that they have very few players that just play really standard cookie-cutter type play. Most of the team plays really creative, avant-garde strategies, and they'll do things unexpectedly, so even if they are losing, they usually come up with good matches anyways. That's one of the reasons that I like them. And so, you know, like in Game 1, they had that weird Cold War Mutalisk standoff, which was kind of awkward and I guess not really the most exciting. But in the last game, it was a really cool match, just because Yarnk went for the strategy that, you know, once I had seen a few matches on Outsider, I was like, why don't Zerg always just go for this strategy? You know, he played such a high gas, quick tech game where he really, you know, put his defenses on the cheap, except for all of those sunken colonies. But in terms of gas, you know, only one, in terms of gas, only, one round of Mutalisks getting made, just 6 Mutalisks, and saving up all of the gas after that, just building a ton of sunken colonies. It's pretty interesting, and it could have been very great, because if he had ever been able to get that build going, then he would have had a ton of Ultralisks and Guardians and whatever he felt like making. But C is a very smart player, and was able to, you know, come up with the right strategy to defend against that. So anyways, he finally goes for the, okay, outsider might be a little bit imbalanced and tight build, and it doesn't quite work out for him because he doesn't have quite enough defenses. Anyways, so far it looks like all we have seen is 2 factories going down here for light pretty quickly, and it looks like Leta has 1 factory into a command center type build. I believe he has 1 factory out. I don't think it was like 1 racks into fast expand. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't seen his base recently and I was talking about something else. Yeah, there is a factory there, and it has its machine shop, so probably both players going to expand relatively quickly. The other thing is that Light has been able to deny the scout from Leta twice now. It looks like Leta was turned away by a single Marine when it first came in, and then just now was killed off by a couple Marines. And Leta is trying to push out with his first tank just a little bit. Maybe he's just going to set up defenses, but he might go and try to set up a little bit of a position just outside of that bridge. But let me see, what was the point that I was going with the Yark versus C? Oh, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that I kind of like the coaching decisions in this match that for Sparkyz, and what I mean by that is, you know, Type B, they put up Type B against Saint, who is easily the best Zerg on the MBCGame hero team, in my opinion, and you know, so Type B gets a pretty challenging opponent, but he still has a shot against him, I guess, even though ZVZ is really Type B's weakest lineup. But that gives them an opportunity to put Yark, a historically stronger player, in his best matchup against a very strong player as well. So, you know, you get Yark versus C, which is a really good matchup that Yark could have won. You know, C reacted really well and played that out really well. If Yark had maybe just gone a little bit more standard and played it out a little bit slowly. Oh, we've got a little bit of a tank engagement going on quickly. It looks like Light is sieging up, and I don't know if that was the greatest idea because Leta's been able to focus fire and take down 2 of those tanks. One of his own tanks gets killed by a stray vulture, spider mine, I mean, but it looks like he is in pretty decent position, although there are those 2 vultures coming in for Light. They might be able to take out that last tank. Only 1 tank left on either side, but it looks like Leta is just going to be able to hold this. Finally, his first wave of Goliaths has come out, and Leta's in a little bit of trouble right now, but he's moving in with his last tank, and he's going to try to get into position to take out that last siege tank, and he does do that. A couple of vultures coming in. Light with a really aggressive timing attack right there, trying to get in. Oh, with a couple of vultures and a couple of tanks to do a lot of damage, and Leta just being able to hold, finally getting his Goliaths, which are going to be pretty good against those vultures, especially once he can get some scans and get rid of all those spider mines. And just a pretty good defense. I really like how Leta defended that, you know, being very, I guess, brave is what you should call that. Just standing there with his unsieged tanks and picking off 2 while Light's tanks were sieging. That was a pretty bad siege, I would say, by him. Anyways, excitement very early on. You usually don't see that type of aggression from Light. If anything, Leta would generally be pressing in, especially with vultures like that. But exciting play, but it kind of evened out. You know, both players lost a good number of tanks, but you know, since they both lost it, they're kind of set up at about the same position. Leta with a slight economic edge just because he was defending his already set up natural expansion while Light is just now getting his up. And it looks like Light might be even coming in to put on some pressure, but he's going to have a hard time crossing that bridge. Like I was saying, that bridge is very easy to defend once you've got a few tanks, just a couple of tanks looking over that bridge, and there's also the little high ground nook just across the bridge that where you can set up a siege tank and get, you know, get some attacks on anything that just crosses the bridge. So anyways, it's a hard bridge to cross, is my point. Anyways, going back to my point, I like the coaching matchup, you know, Type B in a challenging matchup that he could have won, theoretically. And then, you know, put up Yark, a strong versus Terran player, against someone who is weak against Zerg, to try to, you know, really steal a win just because C has been playing so amazingly this season that, you know, no matter who you put up, it's going to be a challenge. So, plus, you know, C has already beat Leta this season. He beat him in the last matchup a couple of weeks ago.